Nothing in this podcast or on our website should be construed as medical advice. Consult your healthcare provider for your individual nutritional and medical needs. The information presented is based on our research and is strictly that of the author and not necessarily those of any professional group or other individual.
Hi, I'm Sue Becker from Bread Beckers. Welcome to Sue's Healthy Minutes. I'm so excited you've joined me today, and I hope this episode encourages you and allows you to find the answers you have been praying for the health of you and your family. For the past few weeks, I've shared with you the facts about fats and the fats and oils that I prefer to use in my baking. So today, I thought I would share with you my preferred sweetener. Today's episode is entitled, Honey, I Love You. So I will be sharing with you just a few reasons why I love honey and why I choose honey for most of my baking. While there are other natural sweeteners that I do use from time to time, all of these, including molasses, agave, and even maple syrup, have undergone at least some processing. But honey is the only truly unprocessed natural sweetener available. It's a true gift from God, and of course the bees. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 16:24 that pleasant words are like honeycomb, sweet to the soul and health to the bones. So in addition to being an amazing natural sweetener, honey actually has nutritional benefits that are often overlooked. Research has shown that honey contains a wide variety of vitamins, minerals, enzymes, antioxidants, and even amino acids. Flavonoids and phenolic acids, which act as antioxidants, are found in honey as well. The amount and type of these compounds depends largely on the flower source of the nectar. But unfortunately, most of the honey available today in our major grocery stores is processed, which means that the manufacturer has heated and filtered this perfect sweetener so that it does not readily crystallize on the store shelves. But this heating process strips away some of honey's nutritional value and potential health benefits. While some people like to downplay the potential health benefits of honey by claiming that it is nothing more than sugar and no different nutritionally than refined white sugar, this is not at all accurate. It is true that raw honey, like refined white sugar, is a sweetener that contains carbohydrates and calories, so should perhaps still be eaten in moderation. But 1 tablespoon of honey contains about 20 calories less than 1 tablespoon of white sugar. Honey, as mentioned earlier, does contain minerals such as potassium, calcium, phosphorus, and trace amounts of sodium and zinc, as well as B vitamins and vitamin C. White sugar, however, is nothing more than simple sugars and contains no other nutrients. Another important difference between white sugar and honey concerns digestion. During digestion, honey is broken down by the body using the enzymes that naturally exist in the honey, while digestion of white sugar requires enzymes, minerals, and B vitamins produced by the body itself, and in actuality depletes the body of these vital nutrients. It should not be hard then to understand why an overconsumption of refined white sugar is so detrimental to our health, both physically and emotionally. Raw honey also shows strong antiviral and antibiotic benefits. For centuries, it's been shown to relieve symptoms of the common cold, and recent studies have now proven that honey is a wholesome sore throat soother and a cough remedy. Some studies showed that buckwheat honey in particular was more effective than over-the-counter cough medicines, especially for children, with no harmful side effects. Honey is a natural energy booster, but at the same time can actually promote sleep, good sleep, if taken in the evenings. These are just a few of the nutritional reasons why I love honey and why honey is my preferred choice for a sweetener in my baking. So, what exactly is honey and where does it come from? I'm sure that we all realize that honey comes from bees, but what you may not realize is that there are over 300 varieties of honey, and to produce just 1 pound of honey, which is a little more than a cup of honey, a hive of honeybees has to collect nectar from over 2 million flowers and travel about 55,000 miles collectively in the process. This is a true gift from God. Once the bees have collected the flower nectar, it gets broken down into simple sugars and then stored inside the honeycomb. The bees then begin to constantly fan their wings over the honeycomb, which causes evaporation of the nectar, creating the beautifully thick, sweet, liquid honey. Honey's particular variety, color, and flavor depends on what type of flower is visited by the honeybees. The general rule of thumb is the lighter the color, the more mild the flavor of the honey. The darker the color, the stronger the flavor. For example, honey made from orange blossom nectar might be light in color and mild in flavor, whereas honey from wildflowers might have a dark color and a much stronger flavor. While there are many different varieties of honey available, there are also blends of varieties available, such as the bakery honey that we sell at Becker's. Blends allow for less popular but delicious varieties of honey to be sold at more reasonable prices. At Becker's, all of our honey is raw and unpasteurized. We sell varieties such as clover, orange blossom, wildflower, alapaha, and more when available, but our bakery honey blend is the most economical for baking. Honey requires no special storage, and it stores fairly indefinitely. Moisture, however, is the biggest enemy to honey storage. Since honey readily absorbs moisture from the air, it should always be stored in a closed container, and care should be taken when using honey not to allow water to get into that container. To retain its color and flavor, store honey at room temperatures away from direct sunlight. Storing honey in the refrigerator is unnecessary and will actually accelerate the crystallization of the honey. Crystallization is a natural process of the sugars in honey in which the liquid honey becomes solid or crystallized. Thankfully, this process does not hurt the quality of honey at all and can be easily reversed by warming the honey slightly until it's completely liquefied again. This can be done by simply bringing a saucepan of water to a boil, remove the pan from the heat, and set the container of the honey in the hot water until the crystals disappear. If the water cools down before the honey is liquefied, you might just place that pot of hot water and the honey container on the stove on the very lowest setting to keep the water warm until all the crystals are liquefied. When substituting honey for sugar in a recipe, you can generally reduce the amount of sweetener by 1/2. For example, if a recipe calls for 1 cup of sugar, you can usually just use 1/2 cup of honey to achieve the same sweetness. Some adjustments in the liquids called for in the recipe may be needed, but typically in most of my recipes, I have not found that to be necessary. Since my freshly milled flour has so much fiber, it tends to absorb some of that extra moisture. When measuring honey to use in a recipe, it will flow from the measuring cup more freely if you measure your oil in the cup first, or at least lightly oil the cup before pouring in the honey to be measured. While it is recommended to not feed honey to infants under 1 year of age, there is no danger feeding them your breads or muffins that have used honey in the baking. And because of its high moisture content, honey actually helps breads, muffins, and cakes stay fresh longer and reduces crumbliness. These are only a few of the reasons why I love honey. And just as I love finding bread verses in the Bible, I equally love finding honey verses. We are, of course, all familiar with the promise of God to the children of Israel that He would bring them to a land flowing with milk and honey. But the Bible also tells us in Proverbs 24:13 to eat honey because it is good, and the drippings of the honeycomb are sweet to our taste. So today and every day, give your honey a little squeeze. Don't just cook with it. Squeeze a little on that bread and butter and enjoy this sweet goodness from God. I hope you've enjoyed this sweet episode of Sue's Healthy Minutes. Thank you for listening today. Until next time, this is Sue Becker from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minutes.
Sue's Healthy Minutes podcast has been a presentation by the Bread Beckers Incorporated located in Woodstock, Georgia. For more information, store hours, and learning opportunities, visit breadbeckers.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast and never miss an episode. Share this with 2 friends who would benefit from this information, and be sure to join us again next week for more of Sue's Healthy Minutes.